There is a saying of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and the saying is as follows: from all means of enrichment, commerce is the one that goes well with freedom. So just a decade ago, we were speaking about automation, and now we often hear a term digital workforce. So these technologies, what opportunities they give to retail and how much time they can free up among the workforce, and where is this border between ordinary automation and artificial intelligence and robotization? Uh, doesn't it mean that we will face a new type of bureaucracy consisting of represented by digital workforce? How can we create a good orchestra of digital employees? Is the subject of presentation of Alexander Zakharov, head of group of technical consulting of ABBYY, the leading global developer of solutions for business process analysis and data processing. Alexander, the floor is yours. Alexander, thank you very much for your introduction. Indeed, ABBYY is a leading global developer in solutions for business process analysis and data processing. So, colleagues before me spoke about how retail is implementing various solutions based on artificial intelligence for client side of the business. But it is interesting to have a look inside into the back office processes, what happens inside retail, and how this activity can be improved. So we have more than 5,000 clients, and a large portion of them work in retail. And I will tell you how components of the sector go through digital transformation. First of all, let's speak about who are digital employees, digital workforce. This is RPA class solutions, robotization class solutions. Those are technologies that allow us to, through analyzing the actions in the interface of the system, to implement algorithms and automate the tasks that are executed by users on their personal computers. From the point of view of automation, this is a very simple instrument to tackle simple tasks. Just imagine, for instance, in a store, you need to make a refurbishment. So you take a screwdriver to make some works, but with this you cannot build a brick and mortar store. You need more serious equipment for this. And from this point of view, RPA is taking its niche and allows you to automate routine operations of employees. It is well spread in the market now. This is a trend started several years ago, and let's have a look at where it is applied in retail. This slide shows the main processes where many companies implement robots, but the most interesting of them and the most widely spread are using robots as the data bus. This means closing the gaps between systems, and usually it is applied in merger of companies. Well, sometimes news come out saying that companies merge, and every company has a stack of information systems of data, for instance, on their clients. And it is important to make smooth migration of data and not to lose it, because basing on such data, you can make personalization further on. But making full-fledged integration between two systems is not profitable because no one might need it in the future. And for such tasks, usually people apply robots through interfaces of two systems. We as ordinary users can copy, paste, and bring information from one system to another. And we see a widespread among large players, a widespread of such technology. For instance, in Magnet, they announced that they set up Center of Competences for Robotization, and they automate a lot of scenarios for various reconciliation and processing of various internal documents and workflows. In X5, they have a lab for robotization that also executes a lot of projects, and in the news they say that in 2 years they plan to have profit for more than 150 million rubles through robotization. But why RPA is a niche solution? Let's compare it against traditional automation. Actually, just let's have a look at an example from previous speakers. A very good solution in applying AI in personalization of data. They structure a very powerful integration with various systems to get the data they need, and basing on this, you can offer the results. And this is possible because this task is profitable and it can give you significant economic impact. But what can we do with the tasks that are relevant, tasks performed by employees? But implementation of traditional automation, large systems, is not profitable. It will not pay back. And that's where RPA solutions can help us. And they allow us with minimal costs to tackle on-spot smaller tasks. And RPA allows us to shift this threshold of profitability of projects for automation. And from this point of view, the most challenging thing of this process is to properly set the task for the robot in order to have maximum impact from such activity. So here we face a problem many analysts articulate. For instance, Deloitte possesses of statistics showing that around 63% of projects in implementation of RPA were violated the deadlines. Ernst & Young shows statistics saying that from 30 to 50% of projects are failing. And what do you think? How many companies go through this threshold for implementing more than 50 robots? Just 4%. And it is important to mention that successful projects show that 70% of all resources spent on preparation of implementation of RPA. It is important to say also that for this, of course, you need proper instruments. Now, evolution of technologies and artificial intelligence. Emerging artificial intelligence gives us a new type of robots, cognitive robots. And the key thing here is that through technologies of artificial intelligence, it is possible to tackle the tasks that could have been performed by human beings only. Analysts, for instance, when they make a search to find effective processes that can be robotized. And that's where artificial intelligence can play a role in selecting what and how can be automated. And one of such technologies is the process mining technology. Intellectual analysis of business processes that allows you to identify the best candidates to implement RPA solutions. And this technology is often used together with RPA. And our company has solutions in this area. It is called ABBYY timeline. We have two areas under this umbrella, two technologies in one paradigm. One is process mining, where we can structure a scheme of a business process basing on the register of events from information systems where this business process is going on. For instance, CRM or ERP system.
And also, AI, using this process map, allows us to detect the bottlenecks, where actually the process is slowing down and losing its efficiency. Usually, robo implementation is maximally promising in these areas. It allows us not only to remove the bottlenecks, but also to forecast the effect from robotizing, automating the step. Will the bottleneck shift to another place along the process? And what will be the cost and resource savings? Following the area, we ask the next serious question is how to go about developing the robot. Here, analysts interview key staff, observe their work. For instance, they observe the work of an HR manager or an accountant or a person entering invoices into the database to understand and properly map the sequence of operations and actions. Accordingly, today, in this fast-paced world, we hardly have time for similar decisions. And here, AI technologies come to the rescue. Task mining is the name of the technology. And here, task mining collects the sequence of tasks to be further analyzed by AI, which locates repetitious business processes and ranks them in terms of time spent and repetition. This data can be taken as a manual for creating the robot. So we can create a draft bot that can be used and improved with time. These are probably the key points where this technology is implemented. So here we are saying the technology of process mining covers RPA projects and is used pre- and post-project implementation. In early stages, as I mentioned earlier, it's a job of improving the speed and efficiency of search algorithms. Understand the processes as this execution costs time and delays. Quickly identify bottlenecks and drill down in the data for root cause analysis. Avoid automating broken processes and easily identify high-impact opportunities. There may be poor processes where implementing bots will not change anything. It will just increase the speed. So here, re-engineering of business processes is also very important. If we draw parallels to my subject, if we mixed the scores for the drums and for the violin, the musicians will not be able to play. So, dear friends, after you developed your bot, ROI is the next important measure. Project ROI is important not only pre-project, but also post-project to assess project efficiency. Here, process mining advantages provide also for ROI the economic effect from digital employees. Another important part, which may be addressed with process mining, is providing control over guidelines and internal procedure protocols. This allows for a cycle where you are constantly improving the effects of robotization. So this combination of process mining, task mining, and RPA technologies used in necessary order allow to detect a synergy and receive a stronger effect from robotization projects. Gartner calls it a hydro-automation trend, when few key AI technologies are used together and so provide a full synergy effect, multiplying the project outcomes. Another important factor is the fourth step, the monitoring. In terms of process mining, certainly RPA solutions use their own algorithms, but use their own coordinator, but the encoder will not give you the picture of whether the business process is followed correctly by a certain staff member. And it is also very important to constantly look for new opportunities for process optimization. So you end up with a so-called conductor who can watch over your orchestra, make sure it's complete, it has all its necessary music scores, all the guidelines, and every employee is maximally effective, achieving high results. And this is probably the key message regarding technology implementation. Now, I'd like to tell you about the case of one of our clients. In this case study, he turned to us with a problem to identify and justify processes for automation, consumer support, and truck rolls. However, after automating 10 or 15 processes, we didn't know what to do next because we did not have a process map. It was very hard to find the right candidates. So using the timeline, ABBYY timeline, the customer analyzed his key processes and in the first 6 weeks found candidates for automation with potential economic effect ROI exceeding $8 million. Around $500 million rubles in currency exchange rates. Quite a serious ROI worth fighting for. Today, they have already implemented over 100 bots and went a step further. They're not only orchestrating the process, but also using AI technologies in process mining of ABBYY timeline to realize predictive analytics. So the future process state calculation based on historical data. And this allows us to efficiently detect and remove ineffective interaction between digital online staff and normal people, ordinary customers. Because at these transfer points, specifics are possible, which are better tackled in advance. And accordingly, if we note digital employee not managing, we need to connect someone else to support. Or if we see that a person is not following the correct sequence of tasks, the bot can launch accordingly, start up, and correct these actions. So accordingly, this technological synergy can provide serious outcomes, improving market competitiveness and also company performance efficiency. Thank you very much. I'm ready to answer your questions. Alexander, thank you so much for your very engaging presentation, a very interesting subject, digital employees. We have a question from the audience. A high-level question. Can companies be successful without using AI today? In your opinion? Well, replying, the market today, says Alexander, is very competitive. And as a rule, if one of the market players doesn't provide a set of services offered by other players, he begins losing the market, says Alexander Zakharov, the head of technical consulting group, ABBYY. So it's important not to find the new clients in this case, but instead retain existing and creating this atmosphere, relationship of trust, where you are offering your customer with the best resources and services in the market, allows you to retain the client and, of course, enjoy the maximum effect. The companies that experiment looking for new ways of customer interaction work on their operational efficiency, personalization. These companies inspire more trust with customers, thereby occupying a bigger market share. Those instead not looking into the future will stay behind. the pack. Thank you for your answer. Next question. Solutions you described are implemented in which company segment? Large retailers, or are there any limitations? Well, regardless of the company's size, everyone uses similar tools. However, these tools are focused on different solutions and tasks. Certainly, large players are able to run trials without losing production, without jeopardizing production efficiency. They can invest, take a risk, see if a technology plays or not, and then use it. Accordingly, the SME, smaller and medium-sized enterprise, probably won't be able to afford this type of investiture. But frankly speaking, in retail, smaller companies occupy a significant market share of almost 70% of the market. And certainly the processes of automation are running not only in the larger retail chains, but also in smaller retail formats. Everyone wants to offer personalization options to their customers to avoid risking losing them. And because quite a serious market share is occupied by this retail segment in SME, the developers of technologies and AI developers have to focus not only on the interests of large players, but other players in retail, and provide AI solutions which will provide for clearer task management at a lower level. Maybe we can call it so-called democratization of technology, where AI can expand its environment to cover all the market players, thereby reducing the cost of similar projects. Another question from the audience. How popular is the retail for digital workforce implementation compared to other sectors? Well, frankly, it is no secret. The leader in using digital employees is the fintech sector. However, retail is in a second place. Retail also enjoys many routine operations and quite an extensive back office staff. And accordingly, to improve efficiency, the retailers look not only into the new technologies, which allow them to communicate with clients at a new, better level, but also everyone interested in reducing costs. And this optimization for back-office operations, optimizing internal processes to coordinate these processes, make them seamless, and with minimal cost expenditure. Okay, thank you. The next question. We heard about the company advantages, but what about the employee advantages from other digital colleagues? Just imagining if I had Tina or Joy next to me, how would they help me? Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. You're right. When an employee sees a clear benefit in using a technology and sees implementation effects and outcomes, they're going to be more active lead users, and the company will derive stronger results accordingly. From this viewpoint, I think Deloitte and Touch, in their energy industry report, identified such a trend of super teams. When the teams use AI internally, along other emerging technologies, to resolve and tackle routine, mundane, everyday tasks. And there, the team or the actual staff members are the initiators. Let me give you another case in point. All of the staff members understand when it's a reporting time, they usually open Excel, upload the data, and build your interesting roles without calling IT department, without involving any other department into the process, because it's your job, and you need to provide specific results. Robotics and AI technologies are similar. Today, we see increasingly more solutions in the so-called low-code format, which allows to use these competences and this digital stuff in place. And this allows the staff to be more effective, to resolve their work challenges, and to use these technologies simply as Excel. Thank you very much for your amazing presentation and for the very telling answers. Thank you.